I'm 77 today.
Today,
Happy birthday.
it's his birthday.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
It's been 57 years since I got my first paycheck. And so I'll tell you something that's interesting for me at this age is that you look.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bloomberg, writing for movies in Sweden.
Hi.
Jonathan, what's
Hey.
up on the shelf?
A bunch of stuff.
What is it? Are they?
There's little dolls and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
the
Now,
merch. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I just, it's fascinating. That's all.
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, it's my shrine of people I've done interviews with. So now you can end up here.
Fantastic.
Oh,
It's like that little space, like the little astronaut you gave me on the last day.
yeah.
Yeah, that should be up there.
Yeah, we'll arrange something afterwards. So I've seen all the 8 episodes of Constellation, and I've always been a huge fan of you both from before. So it was really nice to see you work together on this. I'm a huge Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul fan, obviously, and I've spoken with you before, Noomi, about your other projects.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, kind of, this is the first Apple TV show that we actually get to see someone speak Swedish. So I wanted to start there. How was that for you, Noomi, to kind of bring the torch on for the Swedes?
Helt underbart. Yeah, it felt so, it really felt like it was written for me. It was quite shocking when I started reading the scripts and I was, started to discover Joe and Peter Harner's incredible writing. And it just felt like he's been studying me. He knows too much about me because he was so close to home. And I moved to London with my son many years ago, and me and my son we go between Swedish and English, sort of like Joe and Alistair. So it was really, I mean, it was amazing. It just felt like, I really felt like I've been waiting for this and that Joe was meant for me.
Yeah. And Jonathan, I know your way into this project came through the director that you had worked with on both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul previously. So I'm guessing you had some like trust built up with her from before. But I was wondering what you felt about reading your part, because it's a really complicated role.
It is. And I've said it, in the other interviews before today, that I had to go back and read it again. And then I had to read again. Then I had to read again and read again. But Michelle, I'm kind of all in that with anything that Michelle wants to do. I don't ever want her to hear this, but I kind of love her.
That's nice to hear. I won't spread it, but we'll see what happens. And Noomi, this is actually 15 years ago since Mens mata kvinnor and the Girl with the Dragon 2, and the other 2 movies came out. So I was wondering, kind of,
how many years ago?
15 to
Wow,
this year now.
that is major.
Yeah, so I was wondering how that kind of feels, having done so much since that happened.
Wow. I'm so humble, and like, it's still, I need to pinch myself quite often to just like, this is my life, and I'm real. I'm sitting here with fucking Jonathan Banks. Like,
right.
How can I be so lucky? I went from that.
Poor soul. She sets a very low bar. What can I tell you?
I mean, I'm working with the best people in the world, and I sometimes I'm still surprised, and I feel so grateful, and yeah, every day I'm more and more like, kind of embracing and accepting good things, and it's I'm very grateful, and it feels, this journey that we went on with Constellation, Michelle MacLaren, I mean, she's one of the most amazing directors I've ever worked with. Peter Harner's writing, all the actors, the kids, the 2 girls that plays my daughter, James Darcy, Jonathan Banks, the other director. It's like, you know, and the Apple, like the whole team, how this came together for me 15 years from that. And now I'm here. I wouldn't have thought that I was gonna be here. I don't think so. So yeah, it's shocking.
We're really glad that
I
you are,
find
though.
15 years, excuse me, but I find 15 years was like yesterday.
Yesterday,
I'm
yeah.
going to say it. I'm going to say it again and bore you to death. I'm 77 today.
Oh,
Today
happy
is his
birthday.
birthday.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
It's been 57 years since I got my first paycheck. And so I'll tell you something that's interesting for me at this age is that you look and someone's work who you really admire and you really admire and you're going to meet them and then there she is and she's, you know, way young enough to be my daughter, for Christ's sakes. And but so her journey of the years are limited compared to mine. I've been doing this a long time and I couldn't be happier about this project and where we are right now. There's some, yes, it's talented, it's interesting, it's cinematically wonderful, that, but there are good people on this. These are people you want to be around. And, you know, I don't care how maudlin that sounds, it's absolutely the truth.
Makes me so happy to hear. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. And again, Jonathan, happy birthday.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck with the premiere.
Thank you.
The character is having a nervous breakdown, and Noomi had to find that headspace, and she did. And it was.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bloomberg, writing for movies in Sweden.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan. Nice to meet you.
Right back at you. I've seen the entire series, well, the first season. Let's hope we get more. And I've talked to Noomi Rapace before about roles in other shows, and I know she can be really devoted to her roles when she accepts one. So I wanted to know how it was working along beside her in this show.
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Numi's incredible, brilliant, talented, giving, and she's a mother. So I believe this role was fit for her, made for her. And to work with her, you see her brilliance. So you have to level up your abilities because she's not going to stop. You know what I mean? And that every artist wants that. You want to be challenged. You want your creative muscles to be worked. And she did a great job leading the show, and she did a great job carrying the show. And what a pleasure to work with Noomi Rapace.
Yeah, I would echo all of that. She is a real powerhouse of an actress, you know, and she, you know, it's not often I work with actors who don't commit to their part, but this role was
Obviously.
this role was unbelievably challenging, I think, for her. I think she'd probably say that to you as well. You know, the character is having a nervous breakdown, and Noomi had to find that headspace, and she did. And it was, you know, I echo what Will was saying. As an actor, it's wonderful because you don't have to act. You just be. You know, the writing is great. Noomi is absolutely there, and yeah, you have to level up, because if you're not being honest in that moment, then there's no real scene happening.
Yeah.
You know, and Noomi made it easy for us because it felt so real.
That's good to hear, and I could feel it watching it too. So I can only imagine how it was to be in that room with her. James, also got to spend a lot of time with the child that your character and Numi's character has together, and that child is actually played by two twin sisters. I know, and I was wondering how it was working with them too, and they even had to learn some Swedish to.
Oh, how
do
did they
their
do with it?
parts.
How was their Swedish? Is it good?
Well, I would say that you can hear that they're not fluent, but they shouldn't be either because they weren't living in
Right.
Sweden.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, Davina and Rosie, the two twins who played Alice, are truly extraordinary young women. They had a maturity about them, but they're still very innocent, which is an incredible combination. And they didn't seem to be particularly phased by what was going on. And if you've ever been on a film set, it's not a normal place. It doesn't feel very natural when you're actually on a film set. And they were able to put all of that aside and just be Alice. It was their natural instincts were really beautiful to behold. And if I'm honest with you, I had some apprehension because I knew that I was going to spend a lot of time with, I didn't know it was twins initially, but with whoever played Alice. And that turned out to be just such a joy for me because their innocence, it can't help but fuel whatever guilt I needed to find, whatever regret I needed to find as Magnus, because you realize that as an adult, you don't have the same level of innocence anymore. It's gone. It's gone, and you can try and recapture it, but but you're trying to recapture it, So actually, it really, really helped me looking at these two sort of wide-eyed, open, honest girls and realizing that, to some extent, as adults, we've all made terrible mistakes that we wish we hadn't made. And I could just sort of tap into that. And then there was the emotion easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear. So thanks a lot for taking your time to speak with me today. And I hope we get to speak again for next season if we get one.
Thanks very
thank
much.
you, and thank you for watching.
Bye.
You are absolutely right, Jonathan. She is a force of nature. She commits to a role like nothing I've ever seen, both emotionally and physically.
I'm Jonathan Bloomberg, writing for Movies in Sweden.
In Sweden, hejsan!
Hejsan!
Hey! Allt bra?
Everything's great. Yeah.
Okay,
Nice to meet you, Jonathan.
Right back at you. I see Noomi has done her fair share of sharing our language with you guys.
Yes. Well, I live in Sweden. I'll let you into a secret. I live in Sweden. So, and I'm a Swedish
Really?
citizen as well. So I've
Well-
picked up a little bit in order to speak to my children.
Well, I didn't know that. That's amazing to hear. So that kind of explains how we landed on a Swede in the lead role of this series, which was going to be my first question that you kind of answered anyways here now. So I wanted to know how you went about casting Noomi for this role, apart from her being Swedish.
The weird thing is, I'll slightly answer your first question as to why it was Sweden. It's one of my kind of initial little sparks of inspiration for the story was I was on holiday in a cabin in the woods with my wife in Sweden, and every night, well, for a couple of nights, we used to hear this little girl calling out in the forest, "Mama, Mama," and we'd go out and look for her, and she was never there. And we tried to kind of work out who she was during the daytime and where she could be staying, and we never found an answer to that. So that always just stuck in my head, that little girl crying in the forest in Sweden. And I guess when I came to write it, for some reason it collided with this space mystery, and I felt that the journey of it had to be to find out who that little girl in the Swedish forest was. And casting wise, it probably had to be Noomi and no one else.
I think Peter wrote it for Noomi, and when Noomi read it, our first conversation, she said, I was going to take a break, but I can't. I have to do this. This was written for me. And I said, yeah, it was.
Yeah. And she truly is a force of nature. Whenever she commits to a role, I know she really wants to be involved with shaping how that character will turn out. So I was wondering if that was the case on this show as well, and if she added anything, what kind of came from her that we later got to see on screen.
Well, I think when she read the script, she said, "It's like you've read my mind. It's like you've read my diary, and you know, you seem to know what it's like in here." So in a way, it was just a kind of symbiosis of something that she really seemed to click with in the part, and it does have that strength that she's well known for, and that containedness and power. But I think it's got an emotionalness and a vulnerability and a kind of rawness, and a sparkle and a lightness to her performance, which you know, which is maybe slightly new territory.
Yes, Noomi really responded to that in the script, in that her character, yes, she is powerful and strong, but she is vulnerable, and she's a mom, and Noomi's a mom. And she found it very relatable. And you are absolutely right, Jonathan. She is a force of nature. She commits to a role like nothing I've ever seen, both emotionally and physically. And she needed to in this, because it was both emotionally and physically demanding. And she's phenomenal. I can't imagine anybody else doing it.
No.
Yeah, I'm really great to it was really great to watch her in this for sure, and I'm looking forward to speak with her next now about it as well. So best of luck with the premiere, and I do hope that we get to speak on this second season if we get one.
I think so too.
Thank you,
Pleasure to meet
Jonathan.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Bye.